This particular story taps straight into a personal phobia of mine. I have a fear of being upside down in a confined space with next to no air to breathe. I can't say why, but I used to have nightmares as a child just like this. So, when I first heard about the Nutty Putty Cave incident, it tapped into a carnal fear in my brain and made it an uncomfortable thing to research. The name sounds innocent and funny enough. At first, Nutty Putty Cave does not strike fear into someone upon hearing it. But a particular incident occurred within the caves that would leave them permanently closed. First explored in 1960, Nutty Putty Cave is a hydrothermal cave located in Utah, USA. It was popular with tourists and amateur spelunkers, but was also known to be rather hazardous due to its tight, narrow passageways. Due to the excessive numbers of tourists the cave received each year, the passages had become smooth and slippery. On November 24, 2009, a man called John Jones visited the cave with his younger brother Josh. The two brothers had explored caves in Utah many times as children, although they were not what one would call caving experts. They hadn't been to a cave for years and chose Nutty Putty Cave as a way to rekindle their childhood passion. At 8 p.m, John and Josh entered the cave with 9 friends and acquaintances. After an hour, the group had explored the largest chamber, an area that included a 45-degree drop known as the Big Slide. However, this wasn't challenging enough for John, Josh, and a couple of their friends. They decided to try and pass through the birth canal, a very narrow passageway that led to another large chamber deeper in the cave. John went first, leading the small expedition through the tight tunnel passages an inch at a time. Eventually he came across a sudden slope that showed no sign of opening up into a bigger cavern. Nonetheless, John continued. Perhaps he debated with himself if this was really the right way, but by then it was already too late. He slid into a nearly vertical fissure. Due to the angle and tightness of the tunnel, it was impossible for John to return the way he had gone. He was trapped. Pinned in place by the rock, John was stuck upside down in an area that measured 10 by 18 inches, or 25 by 46 centimeters. He was more than 400 feet, 120 meters, from the cave's entrance. John either entered the birth canal and accidentally entered into the Scout Eater, or missed the birth canal entirely and crawled into another passageway known as Ed's Push. At the end of Ed's Push are 4 unexplored passageways, which nobody explored due to their extreme narrowness. A grown human couldn't pass through. Josh was following behind and was the first to find John trapped. He unsuccessfully attempted to lift John out of the crevice. John wasn't just stuck upside down, he was unable to move his arms. One of them was pinned underneath him, while the other was forced backwards. Unable to move anything but his feet and ankles, John could do nothing but pray with his brother. While a friend stayed with John, Josh left the cave as quickly as he could and called for help. It took hours for a rescue team to be assembled. In the early hours, the rescue team devised a plan to use a complicated rope and pulley system. Using a series of cameras and a rope tied around John's legs, the rescue team would lift John out. They also began drilling away at the rock near John so that he would have more room. However, after an hour, they were only able to remove a few inches of rock. The narrowness of the passage and the angle of John's body made the rescue even more difficult. It was impossible to just lift John, as his legs would come into contact with the cavern ceiling. John was struggling to breathe, and his heart was under a lot of stress due to gravity. It was around this time that John spoke to his wife, via a two-way cable radio for comfort. 19 hours passed. The rope and pulley system was working. With at least 8 men working in tandem, they slowly began to lift John out of the crevice. They worked slowly because John was in pain, the rough rock walls scraping his body. But despite the pain, the plan was working. Eventually, John was able to see the face of the rescue worker nearest to him. The rescue worker asked how John was doing, to which John replied, "It sucks. I'm upside down. I can't believe I'm upside down. My legs are killing me." John was almost free, a smile on his face. The rope around John's legs broke, along with a metal bolt on the cave wall. John fell into the crevice again, but this time he was even deeper than he was before. In an attempt to try and free John again, a rescuer almost got stuck themselves. They were working quickly, as John's breathing had become shallow and less frequent. The rescue workers tried to talk to John, but he would not respond. While drilling a new hole for a replacement bolt so they could use the pulley again, a medical professional was brought to see John. At around midnight, November 25th, after over 24 hours trapped upside down, John died of cardiac failure. The authorities deemed that it would be too dangerous to remove John's body, so the rescue workers left him where he was. Nutty Putty Cave would become John's tomb. Shortly after, the cave was closed to the public and the entrance was destroyed using dynamite. John was described as having a good nature, delightful sense of humour, strong work ethic, a genuine love of people, a masterful ability to relate to children, a love of and unwavering faith in the gospel of Jesus Christ, and his commitment to his family as an amazing husband, father, son, and brother. John was studying to become a pediatric cardiologist. He was a father, and his wife was pregnant with their second child. What happened to John was a disturbing tragedy, and a story I have known for many years, but I found difficult looking into because of my own personal phobias. Let this be a lesson to anyone that caves are very dangerous places, and you should not explore new areas on a whim. Stay safe.